This is the most insane Tesla flow we have seen since the great squeeze of 2020. Also, NASDAQ hedging is at highs that haven't been seen since the 2022 bear market, and sentiment keeps getting more and more bearish. A lot to talk about today, so make sure to like the video below, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. So really quick, before I show you the Tesla flow, look at this here. The cost to hedge against a 10% drop in QQQ just spiked to its highest level since the 2022 bear market. Over the past 5 years, relative hedging costs have climbed about 40%. That puts downside protection on QQQ more expensive than in 92% of historical cases, so very high right now. And traders are clearly layering in protection to cover their long equity exposure, likely funds, also retail, since a lot of those retail traders, investors did buy the dip during that tariff fiasco earlier this year in March and April. So it just shows a lot of people are being cautious up here at all-time highs. So this is absolutely ludicrous, guys. I have Tesla flow filtered for all of last week, as you can see here in the historical flow tab on Cheddar Flow. And look at all of this call premium over here. I have it filtered just to show you the calls, just to show how absurd it is, the amount of premium that we saw over here. Like, look at this, 1.2 million, 1.7 million, 2 million over here, 3.5 million, all of these out the money calls, not even that far dated. November is about the furthest that you can see in terms of expiration. The rest of them are September. And you just scroll down, there's a ton of these prints throughout the week, especially these 360s. This guy added over 20 million worth of premium for the 360 strike for net buying. And we know it's net buying, by the way, because you can look over here on order details. You can see, well, first of all, volume was over the existing open interest. The open interest increased the next day, and then the implied volatility between orders actually increased too. So a ton of buying across the board this entire week. And if we go over to the chart, you guys know I've been bullish on this one ever since we broke out of the pennant pattern. Remember me talking about all the energy that was building up inside of this pennant, the two green lines over here? Well, we got that move that I was looking for. It's almost at 400 now. Remember, my final target is 404, which it looks like it is just about to hit as of this upcoming week. So beautiful move on this one from a personal trade setup. But then also in terms of flow, this is showing this could actually go even higher than my initial target, which sounds crazy because all the way back here, when I was looking and getting interested in it, whether it's in the 320s or 330s, you're looking at a pretty hefty move in a short period of time. That's a 22% move on Tesla for something that's remained relatively stagnant all year, especially after the Elon Musk and Trump crash out that happened earlier on. But beautiful upside move. This is a perfect pennant breakout. You can see here, if I actually draw it out for you guys, this is a pennant breakout here, and then a retest of the pennant to then go up, and actually retested it twice here. So kind of form an inverse head and shoulder. We can call it a pseudo inverse head and shoulder, and then that eventual move. So really, really nice. You can see it a little bit better displayed on the daily with the wicks over here. You can see we had this fake breakdown back within the pennant pattern, and then it was able to establish that upside, and then the retest of that breakout, and then just continuation thereafter with nice complementing volume as well. So it has all of the characteristics of a beautiful breakout, should have continuation from here. And also based on that flow that I was showing you guys, looks like it wants a lot higher as well. So want to mention another thing here. You can see the account posts. We haven't seen flow like this in Tesla since 2020, 2021. And that's true. I'd personally say the same thing as well. I can't remember a time seeing this much call premium, relentless call premium across the board in multiple years on Tesla. We've seen it on NVIDIA during its squeeze since 2022, but not on Tesla. And this was absurd. If you guys saw this post over here, yesterday, the Cheddar Flow account posted that a Tesla whale added $20 million worth of out the money calls. Today, they're up 110%. These actually went up 130 something percent, I believe, by end of day. So at the time they posted, it was still earlier. So they made over $20 million in one day. And this isn't even the first time doing it in the past month. If you guys remember the other trade setup, I could try and find that from over here. We can see from the previous day, this post over here, this Tesla whale was at 15 million. They were up 75% a couple weeks ago on August 29th, and they didn't sell it. And then they ended up taking a loss because they didn't trim or sell their position, which was insane. So if you're interested in this thread, thought it was pretty good write-up that they did here. You could look it up from August 29th on Cheddar Flow. But bottom line, they got the redemption, same size on this print that I just showed you from over here, and they're up even more now, and we'll see based on Monday if they close their position based on the open interest. Didn't see anything on the tape that would reflect it, but there was just so much volume on the tape that it'd be difficult to find if they did exit their position. So wanted to bring that to your attention. Now, going back to the flow, if you do want to see these orders as they hit the tape, you can use that discount code on the bottom right of your screen. Just click the link in the description of this video. You'll get 15% off after your free trial. So if you don't even like it during the free trial, you can cancel. Otherwise, you get that 15% off once the subscription starts. And this offer is only for people that watch up until this point in our videos. Now, going into some other flow, because again, Tesla, definitely the craziest that we saw, but there's still some other flow from last week that was pretty absurd. For example, MSTR, so MicroStrategy, or I guess they changed the name to Strategy. This one saw a ton of call flow from last week, and this isn't even filtered for just calls. It's 100% calls if you have it only filtered for over 1 million in premium. So no put orders between there. You can see a lot of green, a lot of very short dated green as well, which is super interesting. And these are out the money. Also, a lot of these were executed near end of day on each of these days. So for example, a lot of like 3:57 Eastern, 3:56, 3:53, and then over here 3:41 near the end of the week. These pretty aggressive out the money calls with a very short expiration. So they're expecting a nice move in Bitcoin, which you guys know from watching these videos. The two most bullish tickers that I've had are both Tesla as well as Bitcoin from these summer months until going into the fall. And you can see just based on all of this flow that this is very supportive of that breakout in Bitcoin, just because obviously strategy will follow in suit if Bitcoin continues to break out. So I want to show you the chart, and this looks beautiful, still looks beautiful. It has for the past like 1.5, 2 months now. Personally, outside of the fact that it had a fake breakout up here, it's based very nicely around 108,000 to 110,000 and now is breaking out of this flag. There's a couple variations to the flag, but this is my favorite, mainly because, and we can optimize the top over here, but mainly because you can see it did have a breakout of there and had a rejection once it retested it after falling back in. And now we are attempting to break out of it again. And so far it has been successful. So I want to see continuation from here. And by the way, if you don't remember from the previous videos, this is a macro inverse head and shoulder breakout that is occurring plus a bull flag. Pretty rare you find a setup like this. And I can see this going again to the 140,000s as I've been saying in these videos. And obviously that MSTR flow also supports it as well. I'll show you the MSTR really quick over here. But as we can see, there's a couple factors. One, there is a key previous demand zone, this red over here, but now it is a supply zone that will have to get through. But at the moment, I say around 340 is the most key area. And we can see we rejected it actually from over here a couple days ago, I believe on Thursday. Actually Wednesday over here. So Wednesday rejected 340. Believe it can get above that, especially this downtrend that's formed, local downtrend, this green line here. Then it can have a nice continuation upward. So kind of looking for a break above here and then 340. And the final area was 342.5. Above all of these, you're going to see this thing rip. And by rip, I'm talking like 400 next. So it would be an insane move to see on MicroStrategy, especially considering how stagnant it's been in this entire area over the course of the past month or so. So would be good to see that breakout here. Of course, needs Bitcoin to continue to appreciate throughout this weekend, going into next week and the rest of the month, etc. But does have a nice complementing flow, millions upon millions worth of short dated premium. So they're expecting a move very quickly. And then Bitcoin is also breaking out as well. So looks good at the moment. Wanted to bring that to your attention. And then finally, want to mention one other thing in the flow, and that is super interesting CrowdStrike leap orders. This one typically doesn't see premium like this, at least on Cheddar Flow. And you can see a lot of $1.1 million, $1 million prints for far out the money strikes. So just because it's a call leap doesn't mean that it's not something we pay attention to. If this was like a deep in the money call leap, then it's not going to give us that much alpha, so to speak, but pretty far out the money in this case here. And the reason why I really like this one isn't just because of the flow. The flow's okay. Again, it still is further dated here. However, I looked at the chart after seeing some of these unusual prints, and that's what really caught my attention. This is a perfect golden pocket retracement. And as I can show you here, if we go from high to low, it retested the 0.618 as well as the 0.5 over here. So very nice. Also, at the same time, is a bit of a cup and handle variation. There's two here, so I'll get rid of this to show you that. But we can see the original double bottom formed, and then this was the handle. So it acted as a cup, and then the handle, and then we had the breakout of that. Now we're actually retesting not only the breakout, which is kind of this trend line here that it broke out of, and then over here it's attempting to break out of again. but at the same time also have that golden pocket to support it. I really like some of those features. You also could, this is a bit more of a stretch, but this could be considered a much grander handle instead of the multi-day one over here. This is now a multi-month handle that is forming if it's able to break out from it. But the expected move of something like this is like 540 to 550, which is close to the strike that they chose for those call leaps. So still could take some more time, hence why they added a lot more time on their contracts. But wanted to bring this to your attention because I actually really like this setup over here as long as it can stay over this area. I'd say best stop in the best case scenario is like 400, just because this is a key uptrend that formed all the way at 2024 lows. So it's still a little bit further from where the current price is. So if we do get a bit of a dip, that would provide a better risk reward. But in the near term, at least, this could be a potential option for further dated contracts to kind of tag along with what those whales were doing. Regardless, that's all for me today. Appreciate you guys watching this video as always. I'll see you next time.